All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to you, brothers, to the four corners of the earth, preaching this word and also laboring in this word in truth, love, and sincerity. And may blessings fall upon the houses that are 1/3. And I'm in this quick lesson, I'm going to go into another way how proving that America is spiritually what? Sodom and Egypt. Okay? And we know that America, Babylon, also known as Babylon the Great, has many similarities to what? Ancient Egypt. Okay? But now, this is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Okay, so it's the book of Revelation 11 verse 8. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And these dead bodies represents, the Israelites and Israelites that don't have the truth. Okay, the Israelites that are spiritually dead. Okay, they don't know who they are, right? They don't know who their true powers are. And they don't know where they don't know whether they're coming or going. Okay, so these dead bodies are representing the dead Israelites. Okay, that are spiritually dead. Okay, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. And what is that great city? That great city is Babylon the Great, America, right? Which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt. Okay, Sodom representing, how, what do they push heavy? Sodomy here. Okay, sodomy is heavily pushed here in America, Babylon the Great. And then Egypt, why? Because Egypt, this is a place of bondage for the Israelites. Okay, but not only is it a place of bondage, you can see all the similarities to what? To ancient Egypt. Okay, you got what? You got the pyramids. All right, you got the different obelisk discs, right? A lot of different names, come from Egypt that's been named here in America, like Memphis. A lot of customs, that America partaken, or the customs from ancient Egypt, right? Even some far as to going to embalming someone. Okay, when they do all that prepping for embalming someone, for getting somebody ready for a funeral, right? Or to put them in a casket and things like that. Hey, that all comes from ancient Egypt. So what I wanted to go on today is a different similarity, that I never thought about, that came to my mind, and it was dealing with makeup and wigs. Okay, that came from Egypt, man. Okay, and what is pushed heavy, to these women today? Makeup and weave or wigs. You see, those are billion-dollar industries, man. Okay. So it says history of cosmetics. It says the history of cosmetics, and this is the article, and this is just from Wikipedia. The history of cosmetics spans at least 7,000 years and is present in almost every society on Earth. Cosmetic body art is argued to have been the earliest form of a ritual in human culture. And I want to just hit the main points. Archaeological evidence of cosmetics certainly dates from ancient Egypt and Greece, right? But it started with the Egyptians first. Okay, Greece, just took hold of those customs and did the same. You see, that's all what happened right there. It says according to one source, early major developments include the use of castor oil in ancient Egypt as a protective balm and skin creams made of beeswax, olive oil, and rose water, described by the Romans. Right, Romans are also the ones that took the ways of the Egyptians as well, man, as for their own, just like the Greeks did. The ancient Greeks also used cosmetics. Cosmetics are mentioned in the Old Testament, 2 Kings 9:30, where Jezebel painted her eyelids approximately 840 BC, and the Book of Esther describes variously beauty treatments as well. All right, they didn't write down. They didn't put the scripture down or speaking about it, Esther, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But in 2 Kings 9:30, this is talking about when it says it painted her. Well, it don't say it painted her eyelids. It just says it painted her face, or she painted her face when Jehu came. Scripture's right here. 2 Kings 9 verse 27, it says, and when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tired her head and looked out a window. You see, so she didn't. It doesn't say in particular that she painted her eyelids, but it does say she painted her face. Okay. Continuing on, it says cosmetics were also used in ancient Rome, although much of Roman literature suggests that it was frowned upon. It is known that some women in ancient Rome invented makeup, including lead-based formulas to whiten the skin, and coal was used to line the eyes. So pretty much the point is that, cosmetics that came from ancient Egypt. Okay. Let's see. All right. I just typed in origins of weave and makeup. Let's go to this. Click here. Yeah, and that's when you're dealing with Esau's stuff, man. You got to eat the meat and spit out the bones. So I want to go back to the point. I'm trying to hit the key points. It says the origin of hair extension dates back to Cleopatra, and this dated way before Cleopatra. Okay, and Cleopatra was an Edomite. All right, she wasn't no Egyptian. So believe it or not, the first documented proof of hair weaves was seen among the Egyptians in 3400 BC. They wore wigs sewn on hair pieces and braids that were made of human hair and dyed sheep's wool. They used resin and beeswax to attach the extensions. Bright blue, red, gold were popular in addition to the conventional black. Cleopatra's favorite color was peacock blue. Braids also originated somewhere around 500 BC, an indicator of age, religion, wealth, depending on the type of knots and twists, right? But those Greeks, which Cleopatra was, right? Because the nationality of those Greeks, okay, they carried that took those customary of the Egyptians. Those were Edomites, man, right? Starting with Alexander the Great and all them, right? Those were all Edomites. Okay, and they're not even the original Greeks. Okay, the Japhetic nations are the original Greeks, but they just took their name and their lands and took upon Greeks themselves, just as they did, with the Egyptians. Okay, took their name upon themselves, right? So that's why when you think today of Egyptians, people like to say Cleopatra was an Egyptian, but no, Cleopatra was an Edomite that tried to portray herself as an Egyptian. Okay. So I want to play a quick clip and we can close out. Right?
Let's go tell people they'll only pay for what they need with Liberty Mutual. Fine, I'll drive.
Have you ever wondered where weaves originated? There's well-documented evidence that human extensions were widely used in Africa, specifically ancient Egypt, as cosmetic ornaments. Hair extensions and wigs were made from either human hair bought or traded, vegetable fibers, or sheep's wool. Wigs were a valuable commodity ranked alongside gold and incense in account lists in the town of Kahun. Rich or poor treated their own hair and hair obtained elsewhere as a highly pliable means of self-expression. Egyptians dyed it, cut it, braided it, and weaved charms in their hair. Quite often, the more elaborate styles were worn by men. Bright blue, red, and gold-dyed wigs were popular in addition to conventional black. It is said that Cleopatra's favorite was peacock blue. Pharaohs and influential members of society wore intricate extensions using a complex system of weaves and knots. For poorer citizens of Egypt, there were plenty of cheap knockoffs. Wigs and weaves were often used in funeral attire as well. The ancient Egyptians, both male and female, were known for hating body and facial hair and used all kinds of shaving techniques to get rid of it. The hair was often...
Right, and we know as Israelites, there was a law against, as the Israelite men, there was a law against shaving off your beard, okay? But the Egyptians didn't hold our customs because why? They were heathens, man, and a law was never given to them, okay? But hey, this is what the ancient Egyptians did.
To shave to prevent hair lice and use wigs to replace their own. The double or duplex with curls at the top and braids below was a very popular style. Braids were a favorite form of hair extension. Some were woven into intricate designs to give more length and greater style. Around 500 BC, braids became an indicator of age, religion, and wealth depending on the type of knots and twists the hair is styled in. A 3,300-year-old woman was discovered wearing 70 extensions. Wig choices were highly influenced by fashion, which inevitably changed over several millennia. Many paintings show women wear their ornate wigs topped by a perfumed comb, often worn during festive occasions, which melted and cascaded over the wig as the evening went on. The tomb paintings also showed men and women getting their hair done by other individuals like servants. To make wigs, the individual would first gather the required amount of hair, then sort it into lengths and remove any tangles with a fine-tooth comb, which also removed any lice eggs. Wig makers would use an impressive array of hairdressing tools to arrange the prepared lengths into an assortment of braids, plaits, or curls. Each piece would be coated into a warm beeswax and resin fixative mixture, which would be hardened when cooled. Since the melting point of beeswax is 140 to 145 degrees, this method of securing the hair was effective and worked well in Egypt's extreme climate. The individual locks or braids could then be attached directly to the natural hair in the form of extensions, or alternatively they could be used to create a whole wig by fastening the individual sections of hair into a mesh-type foundation base. In 1881, a wig was discovered inside a box bearing the seals of High Priest Menkaure. It had a huge double-part structure of curls and plaits, so it was assumed to belong to his wife, Esther Kemp. Yet the wig that was recently identified as hers was much smaller. Throughout history, other ancient cultures, including the Assyrians, Phoenicians, Greeks, and Romans, also used wigs as an everyday function. African Americans have a deep connection to Africa, even though the land is foreign to us.
All right, that's the point on that, man, because she goes talking about how African Americans, which, hey, you so-called African Americans, man, right? You also being called you so-called Negroes today. Y'all Israelites, all right? Y'all ain't got nothing to do, with Egypt. Well, far as those are not your people, I'll say that, because we were slaves under the Egyptians, okay? But in fact, we are not Egyptian. Let's get this real fast. And this is what our people need to understand. It's the book of Exodus 11, verse 7. It says, "But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel." Okay? The Lord has put a difference between us. The Egyptians, right? Those are, those are of a Hamitic people. Okay? Or will be your so-called Africans today. All right, the real Egyptians are the people of the Sudanese, you see. But you Israelites, right? Y'all consist of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, Haitians. All right, we are the Israelites, you see. And the only thing we had to do with Egypt was what? We were slaves in Egypt, okay? Amongst other different things, you know. And just like how America prospered because the Israelites were in this land, the same thing happened dealing with Egypt. Okay? Only way Egypt thrived was because the Israelites there, man. Okay? Because Egypt would have been finished without Joseph, having that dream, man. That 7 years of famine and that 7 years of plentiness and that 7 years of famine. See, Egypt would have been finished, but that's neither here or there. Okay, it's another one. Hebrew woman. Yep, Exodus 1 verse 19. It says, "And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered." The midwives come into them, right? So our women are lively women, okay? Our women ain't like those heathen women, you see? Well, when they in a right state of mind, okay? Even our women are still better than them African women, But when our women are in complete order, man, they not to be messed with, man. You see? But, you know, hey, just going into that, you know, for as that, man, hey, people, you women out there that's dealing with, you know, all those different weaves and wigs, right? Same thing, basically. Makeup. Hey, that custom goes back to the Egyptians, man. So that means you holding on to a custom that does not belong to you. You see? Right, yep. So, and that's the point.